RH, quer saber como voar no trabalho? É só usar a Flash. Com a Flash, você concentra toda a gestão de pessoas em um único lugar. Faça a admissão dos colaboradores e solicite mais de 8 categorias de benefícios. Ah, e você ainda pode fazer todo o controle de ponto. Conheça o novo onboarding integrado da Flash em flashapp.com.br.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Yes. It took me a minute to process that.
Yeah, I could tell. I literally saw do you know Roly Poly Oly?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I saw the gears turning in your head.
Yes.
What are they made out of?
What, roly-polies?
No, Roly Poly Oly.
I don't know.
Aren't they like gears?
I didn't really watch it. I just know what it is.
I really think that's funny about like children's shows that like we don't question like SpongeBob.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just like some of these.
Is SpongeBob really a kid's show?
I mean, it's actually the best kind of kid show because you can watch it with children, and as adults, you can make this is fire, this is funny, and they're missing half of it, and then it's a timeless show for all ages. But I think it's technically designed for children. Yeah, Roly Poly Oly, he's a robot.
Okay. I was watching the Barney documentary this weekend.
Is it good?
I mean, I wouldn't even call it. I would say it's like a two-parter. They could have just made it one thing. I thought I was just gonna, because like the Sesame Street one, the one about Big Bird is just like all the feels, and the Barney one is like this man literally started the National Barney Hate Group. I don't forgot what it's called, because he came home from a business trip and his daughter didn't get off the couch to greet him, and so then he started a hate group, and like. They have a woman that is a former white supremacist, and she left it and now like helps people get out of it. And like she was there giving her insight. I thought I was sitting down to watch something very sweet because like Bill Nye's in it, Steve from Blue's Clues is in it, Al Roker is in it.
You missed the trailer?
And I didn't watch it.
Oh my God.
I'd never watched trailers.
I'm sure that was the most alarming thing to watch.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I went, holy fucking shit. Like it is literally like so fucking intense. So I can't even imagine not seeing the trailer, thinking you're watching like the Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I thought I thought it was about to be this heartfelt thing. I remember, I'm still convinced, I never asked him. I was in first grade and I'm convinced that one of the kids in my first grade class was on Barney. Like he had the same name and like everything.
Where'd you grow up? Where were you in
I
first
was
grade?
in Tennessee and they made it in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I know that because of Selena and Demi, because as a Disney Channel girly, that was their origin story.
Yeah.
Wow. I want you to watch the trailer now, because when I watched the trailer, I was like, did someone kill Barney? Like, is Barney going to die at the end of this?
There were a lot of rumors that the guy that was inside of Barney was dead for a while. And like his mom called him and was like, everybody's saying you're dead.
That's unhinged.
Yeah. And he also was like, or still is, he's here in LA, like a tantric sex person. And like he was before Barney too. So the original guy that was in Barney, he was only in it for a year before it became like the Barney that we know today. He was, yes, at the startup point. He was like, I got to leave. The army is calling me. And I was like, great. I don't want to see you the rest of the documentary. So then he's gone. And then they found this other guy. Like it was just like they needed an actor that could move very well. And he like they were doing a live show. So he came out at the live show and like the crowd like went crazy. And so he's like, the movement that we see is what we know of as Barney today. And they made him like sign a thing saying that you cannot practice tantric sex while you're under contract, which
Checks out.
It checks out. And now he like, that's like what he does now here in LA.
Did they get into how much he got paid?
No, but they're all millionaires.
I would be really curious what his like, because that was in the days of like residuals, and also like those children's shows you film like that you can like fucking stockpile shit like
because
over and
even
over
the way
over.
that it even started, it was like it was just the creator of it. She was a school teacher and her son never like sat still, and so she went to the Blockbuster, got a VHS, and it was like just like this video of this like people, those stuffed animals that came to life, like a bear or something. And he paid attention to it, and she was like, oh, I wonder if I could make, you know, something like this that he would like. And so she was married to a guy that his family had like one of those like local stations, you know?
Yeah.
And so she pitched it to the dad, and then they made the show, and it was just going to be like one VHS. And so then this lady saw one of the VHS tapes, and she at the time was a stay-at-home mom, but she had been working in marketing before. And she was like, I want to like start doing Barney birthday parties because like kids love this.
Yeah.
And so she went and started and like pitched. She was like, hey, I want to help with the marketing for this. She just becomes like the head of marketing, and then they make a whole bunch of VHS tapes, and she like goes to different mom groups and like sells the VHS tapes essentially. Wow. And it ended up in the house of a man that was like the head of and working somewhere in PBS, and he saw it and then was like, let's make this a big thing. Wow. It was just women doing shit. Like, yeah. And so, but then the woman who made it for her son, because they would refer to her as like the mom of Barney, and then he like, when he grew up and kind of got over Barney, he got like really dark, and he was in, if you don't want to be spoiled, fast forward like 5 minutes. But he, being a rich kid, because he had like a multi-million-dollar, like $6 million house in Malibu, and just didn't like people. And he went, and one of his neighbors he had put up a sign saying like, please don't like trespass on my property. And there's video footage of this happening. One of his neighbors like just walked up to see what the sign said, read the sign, walked off. And then this guy went over and was like having an argument with him. And then the neighbor walks back in his house and he shoots him in the back. Ooh. He's out of jail now. Like he did sometime, but he's out of jail now and is married with kids. He actually had the same partner and a kid before, but like multiple kids now. Wow. Yeah. Also, that his dad / the lady's husband died by suicide because he didn't like that he didn't get any attention. I mean, there's other things. But that's, I mean, I'm not a parent, but like when a kid can't sit still and all of that stuff, like there are things that we have to learn, but there's also things that like, you know, kids are very good at like showing you their like things that they're really good at and things that they might struggle with more. And sometimes it's not a solution. It's like, oh, this is the reason why. Yep. Let's get to that and figure that out. Because like Band-Aids work. Your whole tits out, just so you know. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with it. Everybody check out the Patreon. See the tits. Wow. Yeah. I was debating if I was going to watch it or not. I loved Barney as a kid, which is shocking because I hate characters dressed in like costumes that have their head included. But for some reason, I think it was like, it's the most like, it doesn't even, as a kid, it didn't feel like I can't fucking stand, like Mickey Mouse at Disneyland scares the shit out of me. It doesn't feel like that. Like it feels more fantastical also because like he's so much bigger than all the kids. Like it does bigger and he's just like positive. Like Mickey's got some others because Mickey wasn't originally meant for kids. And like, yeah. And Barney's not quirky. Barney's just like doing it. Happy. Yeah. And I loved it. So I don't know if I could watch it, but I have debated. There was always like so many rumors that it was like that Barney was like a serial killer, like all of these things. They talk about all of that in the documentary. And I was like, my parents shielded me from all this because I didn't know any of it.
I think I like heard it in like middle school or something. But
they even have like the producer from Jerry Springer on in this documentary because like there's just like hate going on, and they would have like these people that hated Barney on the show.
well, also I wonder if I don't know if they dive into it, but like there is like some people like literally hate children. Like they hate children so much, and anything that's for children, they hate. Like, and it's like there's just like like so much, and like it's a very alarming thing. Like you don't have to like want kids, but this like really intense hatred for children. I don't know. It feels really like layered, and there's got to be more to it. But I'm like,
they get into it. They also have like college students. Like they used to throw parties where you would bring a stuffed Barney and you just beat it till the stuffing fell out of it. And they were just like, we feel like it's taking away from Sesame Street. What?
You can watch both. The program's like 26 minutes long. Yeah. If you're watching like the clip
why
on
do you
PBS
care?
version.
You're in college.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, you need therapy. Like if you're still fucking thinking about
but
this
it was
shit,
like huge.
Yeah.
There were like
so
parties and they have clips of all this. But anyway, this is But Am I Wrong? A show where we judge if you are white.
We do. I mean,
you're white.
As a white person, we deserve to be judged. We are ripe for the judging. Like that is,
right or wrong in a situation. So we have a segment called But Am I Wrong? And that's where we nominate things from our lives or just a hot take that we have. And then we have But Are You Wrong? And that's when y'all write in with your issues and we'll judge if you were right and wrong in a situation. And then we have But Are They Wrong? AKA Rachel of the Week. And that's when we both nominate a person, place, thing, a noun. It could be an idea too that we think is just the wrong of the week.
Absolutely. And it's a great time. So submit, just pop your headphones are. I was going to pop your headphones in. Your headphones are either on or you're in your car. Enjoy the ride. Mm-hmm. And this will only hurt a little. So, and the best part, one of our favorite parts about the show is that we include all of you, our audience. So all of the things that we talk about in every single one of our segments, we then go and make Instagram stories. So there are polls for you to vote on for who you think was wrong in each situation. So if you thought Melissa and I were wrong in our own individual ones, which of the writers who write in for the second segment, and then also again for the Rachel of the Week, if you agree or disagree. So we have an episode coming out tomorrow on our Fisting Friday.
Fisting.
Hey. And we did get a couple of suggestions of new names we'll discuss in tomorrow's episode. We will be reading the results from last week's episode in that episode tomorrow. And then the votes for this episode today will go up tomorrow on the Instagram.
All right. So now we're going to get into But Am I Wrong? And so this is a situation in my life. So I got a message on LinkedIn. Why did I get LinkedIn? So that I can connect with people that I want to work with. And so I got a message very late on a Friday and I was like, why is somebody messaging me? But then I saw that they're on the other side of the world. And they said, I wanted to connect with you to introduce you to one of my, I'm paraphrasing it, to introduce you to one of my clients that wants to hear like your knowledge based on a certain company. I will not say, and would see if you'd be interested in chatting with our client and potentially like consulting with them. And I said, thank you for reaching out. Can you tell me like who the client is and what the consulting is? And the thing is that they won't tell me who the client is. And then they also, the company that they want to know more about, there's no public information that I've worked with this company, have worked with this company. I don't understand why this random lady that's across the world would even know who I am or know that I have worked with this company. And then, so I asked her like who it is. She won't tell me who the client is. And so is it wrong of me to think that this is a spy? Because I don't know how else they would know any of this information unless they work with another specific company and have heard that I'm doing business with this other company.
I feel like you're speaking to a double agent.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's somebody who knows the inner workings behind the scenes and knows that you're doing this, and they're being a double agent. They actually are working for the other.
I see.
You know?
No, but the other people already asked me and I've already told them. Like the new people, they already know. And they're like, yeah, this makes sense because it's happened with some other people. So it wouldn't be them. So I know it's not them.
Oh, so they're just agenting. They're not even double agenting.
Yeah. Single.
A single agent. Like, if you're going to be a secret agent, like, being a double agent's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think you're wrong. It's like really fucking weird.
It's very weird.
I don't like that. Did you ask them? Were you like, how did you?
Yes, I asked, I said, and then she just talked around it. Thank you for your response. As mentioned, I'm working on a project on behalf of the client.
Fucking eerie.
Giving your experience and position within the organization. What organization? I work for my own company. So,
ma'am, is this a scam?
But it's very specific and very timely for something that's happening.
I don't know how rude you can, or like how direct you can be on LinkedIn. Because I would be like, hi, again, could you let me know that how?
I mean, I'm going to do that.
Like how you found me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. How? I would like to know
why.
How.
And why do you know this information?
I would just say how first.
Yeah, how. But like, because there's only one.
They're kind of a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like it reminds me of, there was like this drama in the UK while Mats and I were there. And I was like, I love being here. There was one drama that was like not fun at all. That one was like really fucking sad. I think it was the US. The US ambassador's wife was driving on the wrong side of the road and hit and killed a child on their bike and then got diplomatic immunity. And I go, that's not what that's fucking for. But there was lighthearted, fun news as well when we were there. And it was like they were two football wives. And one of them had suspected that like all these things kept leaking in her life. And she was like, who the fuck is saying this? Like none of it's public, like, but it just keeps getting out. And then she had like a feeling on who it was. And so then she set everything on her like Instagram story, like her close friends and stuff. She like removed everybody except for one person. And then she posted something like fake. And then the next day it was like in the Daily Mail or whatever. And then she like made a post being like, I had all these suspicions and like, this is what I did. And it was her. And then she like literally tagged her. And now they're like in court suing for like libel back and forth and all of this shit. And it was just like,
wow.
Like smart. Mm-hmm. Yet this person, not as smart.
Like, this is nothing that's in public, you know?
That's what I mean. It's like, what if you just said, like, I'm not working with them?
Right.
Like, which be like, well, no, you are. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how do you know that? I would just be like, okay, let's cut the bullshit. Let's like, who hired you? And like, how can I get a cut? How can we work together to get a cut?
They said they're going to pay me.
No, I know, but it's like, I need to know. But
I also asked her, I was like, how much is it? And she didn't give me an answer.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I need to know, am I upcharging them because I don't like these people? Mm-hmm. Or like, how are we going to do this? Like, let's work together.
Let's scam.
Let's scam, girl. It's definitely a real person though, because otherwise I would include their name because I'm like, let's real. Scam. You're not wrong.
I'll follow up next week.
So you're not wrong at all. And I can't wait to follow up. But am I wrong? Is also a hot take. In this environment with these people, as in us and our audience, probably more lukewarm. But this is something I've been thinking about for a while, especially in like the last couple months. But obviously we all know that our medical system is fucked. Our insurance system is fucked. Our healthcare in the United States is all fucked. And we've got so much distrust of doctors and all of this kind of shit. But the entire reason that we have pseudoscience is because of shitty medical care.
Yeah.
That's like, that I think that like, if we had addressed and we do address the inaccessibility of medical care in places and some doctors who really fucking talk down to patients, but like poor medical care leads people to shitty fucking pseudoscience. Do you know how many TikTok accounts, like there are people who like get to pseudoscience and shit that like, there's some people who have like pseudoscience that's like eugenics based. Like there are some that are like purely based in like absolute like disgusting hatred. But like specifically in the United States, the amount of people on TikTok, there's like one specific person who like, I'm not going to say their name because they're so fucking problematic, and their kind of content targets other people who were in the same dark space that they were in, and then essentially like gets them to believe their shit, which I like don't want at all. But this TikToker had a really fucking traumatic hospital birth, and that happens. Like birth is really fucking traumatic. Anyone who has like made it like, oh, like modern medicine has done wonderful things for birth, but like the United States still has the highest maternal mortality rate. Like birth is still like it's a high risk thing regardless. And she had a really rough birth experience and then had a bunch of fucking trauma. And so she decided to do a free birth at home and had no medical intervention. So didn't go to doctor's appointments, didn't get checkups, didn't get ultrasounds, didn't do any of that, and then gave birth at home with no doula, no medical care, nothing. Kids are not vaccinated. Kids don't wear shoes. They don't brush their teeth. They don't use toilet paper. They use towels. And even when they go to restaurants, they use the hand towels to wipe their shitty asses. Like it is just like this downward spiral that stemmed from shitty medical care, which that shit happens in hospitals. Like you can have but it's also about how the medical professionals respond to that. And a lot of the time out of their control, it's insurance companies. You can't say things that might be more comforting and accepting fault because that's an insurance liability. And it's just like a whole fucking thing that like watching this decline of this person, and then the people that they attract are also people who have had traumatic births. And then they turn into this. And then it becomes, well, I didn't trust this doctor to do this thing. So why should I trust them to do anything? And it's just like, it's just so wildly fucked. Or even like, if I think about like, I've got IBS, I've had stomach issues like my whole fucking life, got an endoscopy, like really traumatic experience getting an endoscopy. They did not like sedate me enough. I was awake during all of it. And all of that.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
To diagnose with IBS, which they're like, we really can't do anything for you. We don't know. And so then you have these companies that step in that they're like, oh, we're going to get a sample of your blood for $250. Like send us a sample of your blood and we're going to like run all of this thing. And then we're going to tell you these like food sensitivities you have that like they can't track any of that stuff. And we're going to do this. And then we're going to sell you on these supplements to do this, and this, that it becomes like so many of these wellness companies that are like literally based in pseudoscience have found their niche because they're like, oh, there's something missing in the market here. And it's like, well, you can either go to the doctor and do this, or I can make a supplement that will tell people that this will like fix something about them that they went to a doctor's appointment for, and a doctor doesn't have like the time and the energy nor the resources to figure this out. And it's just like, we've seen it the most specifically with like vaccine hesitancy and like anti-vaxxers in like the COVID era, that like most people have like a traumatic or like a shitty medical experience. And then when you pair that with a certain kind of individual, that leads to this. But even like some other fucking like random pseudoscience, like I saw something that was like talking about in like the early 2000s with like cabbage soup diets and things that are rooted in like diet culture. I'm like, I consider myself to be like a pretty responsible person when it comes to like medical stuff and like researching things. But I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I fucking did. I like had a cabbage soup diet. Like I did, like even like at a certain place in my life, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm more susceptible to these things because we have varying levels of them. And there's a wonderful episode of Maintenance Phase that talks about like celery juice and how that leads to like QAnon and all of that shit. Which all
leads back to it.
Yeah, but like I don't blame like current medical workers for an issue at all, because they're pigeonholed by like what they really can and can't do and like how overworked they are. There's some people who are terrible people and shouldn't be in those jobs, but that happens to everybody, like across the board in jobs. It's not that industry specific. But I can't even imagine how much more frustrating it is to medical professionals recognizing that you're seeing that you like can't provide the care that some people like really need, and knowing that because you can't do that because you don't have the resources to do that, that they are going to then turn to something that's like not real and like not backed in science, and like you can't like gently guide people to that, you know? Like It's just like it's this desperation that we're all like looking for to like solve something. And I think it would be lovely if, you know, everyone from everywhere, like if we could get the people who are so like anti the US medical system to, instead of just saying fuck it and giving up, like being on the side of like we need like healthcare like reform, like we need all of this, versus saying like screw doctors, like I'm just gonna go back, I'm just gonna be reading books and figuring this shit out on my own. Like it feels like we're losing people from our side from it. But yeah,
I just want to push back just a little bit.
Go for it.
Yes, like everything you said is correct, but there's also very wealthy people that have access to all the unlimited healthcare that there is because they are able to pay for it, that are also very much into pseudoscience things.
It's a certain kind of kind of personality.
Like there's two. Yeah, it's the personality. Yeah. I won't say it's not just because our health care system, because regardless if you have access or not, we would
all be into pseudoscience as well. It's like it's this combination of feeling, some people who can feel like very slighted and harmed by a system, and like rightfully so. And then there's also like
people that think that they're above it.
The privilege of like, I'm not getting the treatment that I need versus I'm not getting the treatment I think I deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I fully agree. And it's both of those, you have that, and then you meet a certain personality type.
Right.
And that's how it gets to it. And it just feels like, it makes you like sad. Like it makes me sad, like seeing people, especially when it comes to like new mothers and all of that shit. And it's like even these documentaries about like certain things, and I'm like, I can't fault you at all. Like I really can't, like, because especially in like the chronic illness community, where people like, you spend so much time advocating for yourself, and that requires confidence, knowledge, and also it still takes a really fucking long time, and it takes a certain kind of person to be able to like fight for themselves healthcare wise. And that doesn't feel empowering to some people. Like to some people that feels like dehumanizing, and what's empowering to them is quote unquote researching and doing their own stuff. And it's just like, well, fuck. Like it feels like we've made this problem worse, you know?
Yeah.
Not us as individuals, but it feels like
as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about science is that it's something that does involve, like you can't have science without doing a lot of research. And again, this is like people, there's either, like you said, there's some people that think they're above it, or that they think that they're just as smart as people that have gone to school and studied this, or people that they've run out of like options and they think this is the next thing. Like there's science, but like in order to get to science, you have to do a lot of research. And so they feel like they're doing that groundwork, but they're actually doing it without any knowledge of what the bases are.
Yeah. And like no control groups and no like long-term, like all of this shit. Like it's.
Or they see a study and they don't realize the study was done on like 5 people, and it wasn't even a study. It was like done over 2 days, and it wasn't, there's again, no long-term study done. If it's not written about in a reputable medical journal and has been peer reviewed, it's not real science.
Yeah. And even then it's like, was this tested on people who have your health history? Was this tested on the people of the same like genetic makeup as you? Is this on the same people who are the same height and weight as you, like with the same lifestyle habits as you? Like I'm in a bunch of like long COVID subreddits, and there are people who come in to them all the time who are like, hi, I'm a doctor and I'm starting to do this. If you pay me this much, and like you're seeking out people who are in desperation. And I see people every day making these posts of being like, I read this thing online. This is like a Chinese version of like an ivermectin kind of thing that's being treated there. Like, I want to do this. And like the mods on that fucking subreddit like spend so much time,
I'm sure,
like just trying to like reach out to people and being like, we understand that you're like so desperate, but you can't share these things that are like unfounded and not real. But yeah, when people are like going to their physicians and everyone's like, that's not, you're fine. Like it's in your head, like these tests are coming back negative, or even like doctors were like, yeah, we don't know what to test for, but there's something wrong with you. And it's like this helplessness feeling that like, I think the biggest culprit of this is the like health insurance companies, because it's like where the money is. It's not just like, not everyone who works in like the medical field is like fucking raking in dough and like choosing to make so much money. Like it's like they literally, in order to keep their jobs, have to do certain things that keep their hospitals profiting. And that's the issue. And everybody is kind of backed into a corner, and you have people who are backed into a corner who don't have the knowledge. And when you're a doctor and you're backed into a corner, like you have the education, you have the knowledge to like make decisions or find people who can like lead you to information that can help do X, Y, and Z. But when you're not.
Yeah. But there are also doctors out there that are teaching pseudoscience.
Yep.
Dr. Oz.
Is he a real doctor?
Yeah. Because remember I did that thing about how when he was at that research lab.
Oh, yeah. With all the killing animals.
Yeah. He is, what kind of doctor is he? Cardiothoracic surgeon. Like he's a doctor.
Anyways, that is my take. And my advice to everybody is just be like so fucking cautious. Like be just so cautious, because you can wreak so much more havoc on your body than like pseudoscience. Like these things, like they're not as harmless as they seem. They're a really slippery slope, even if you don't think you're susceptible to them. I've been susceptible to them. Like, and the best thing I've ever done for my health, this might sound counterintuitive, but was like to recognize that like it is better for me if I'm having a bad IBS week to just acknowledge that, like radically accept that like I might not be feeling so well, and I will wait for an appointment at my doctor and like do whatever I can to like mitigate and manage things. But like sometimes there's not a solution, and it's better to like save your time, your money, your energy, and like your mental well-being than searching for something that like might not exist.
Right. And it might not exist right now, but it could exist in the future.
Yeah. And like, don't spend all your money and like all of these things on this, that like accepting something doesn't mean that like you're defeated, or like that it's never going to get better or it's never going to improve. But it's just like recognizing and knowing that like there are certain people who you should be getting this advice from. And if you take a break, like this might be a really bad advice, but like for me, I'm like, if I can put a Band-Aid on something until I'm in the place that I'm like ready to address it with like the people who I can afford to do the good thing, all of that, I'm just going to put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with putting a Band-Aid on it and waiting it out until you're like, okay, this Band-Aid is soaked through. Now time to do this, you know? So that's what I got to say.
You're not wrong.
Thanks.
All right, let's take a break now.
That is what happens next. Now it is time for, hi, welcome back. Did you have a good break? We hope so. Also, everyone go watch the video version on Patreon. You should. We look cute today.
Yeah. We look cute every day.
We do. We try. It actually comes like totally effortless to both of us.
I was about to say.
Okay. So if you want to submit for the But Are You Wrong segment, you can send us an email at butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. You got to keep it under 300 words. We ask that you include your ages. You can include pronouns if you would like. Tell us a story. It's all anonymous, but for our mental well-being and sake of not trying to improv when you write it, give us fake names for the people in the situation involved, and give us as much info as possible. And we'll come for you or support you.
Correct. Hi, Eminem. I love both pods. I'm writing to get you guys' take on a situation involving my new boyfriend, 23 male, and myself, 21 female. We have been seeing each other and going on dates for about 3 months and exclusively dating for only 1 month at this point. He's a great boyfriend, but I recently discovered that he forgot that we met and had sex a couple years ago before we started seriously dating.
Shut the fuck up.
In the summer of 2020, we met on Bumble. We also have some mutual friends. After texting a bit back and forth for a few weeks, he asked me to come to his house, very much so under the pretense of having a casual hookup, and I did. We really got on well, though. I know you meant you got it on well.
Oh,
and after we hooked up in August of 2020, we never stopped talking and texting until November of that year, when we eventually fell out of touch. But at that point, we moved to different cities. We never connected in person again after that until this year. That was all very casual and intentionally non-exclusive, but we were talking basically every day. Today we were talking about us hanging out all those years ago. He said in 2019 I was almost a part of his hoe phase, but didn't quite make the cut because we only made out. I'm 100% positive we had full penetrative sex that night. Am I wrong for being hurt that he forgot we had sex?
Dude, this is better than I thought, because I thought he forgot that you talked. I thought he forgot all of this happened.
Yeah, because you have text proof that you because even if you stop talking, unless you completely deleted their phone number from your phone, you still have the old conversation.
I know. I was like, does he have a double life somewhere else? So this makes me feel a little bit better, but not good.
Not good. I mean, he was in his hoe phase, so I'm sorry, but to him, you're just...
Pussy was a dime a dozen.
Yeah, you're just another bitch. But I feel really bad that he doesn't remember you at all. I don't think that you're not wrong for your feelings ever. Also, this one, I'm surprised we didn't get to. This is from August.
No,
I don't know how we skipped this.
Me fucking neither. As soon as I started reading this, I was like, what? Because we have summer, we'll look at them and we'll pick, because we each pick ones. And I literally, I was like, bitch, I'm scrolling all the way up to what are you picking? And I was like, where was this?
Exactly. And also this was, I said that to say this was before we said don't write in about your feelings and stuff. But fuck. I would feel bad. I feel bad right now. Can
you imagine your what was your face?
How many people did you sleep with?
My face, I would have been like, huh?
Yeah. I'm not judging at all. I'm just curious how many people he slept with that he forgot you.
Dude, I'd be so mad.
Does he have other memory?
Wait, okay, he's a great boyfriend, but I really discovered that he forgot we met and had... Oh, so did he think you never met in person?
No, because then she
we
said
only
that
made
they
out.
made out. He thinks that they only made out.
Also, I really don't like how he phrased that. You almost made the cut. And it's first of all, you did penetrate me, and you keep penetrating me.
I got in the guts cut.
Yeah, you've been in my guts and remain in my guts to this day. Yeah. Oh my God, you're so not wrong at all, but I fucking need to know what he said when you were nah, we fucked. And then
did you say?
You didn't say, she didn't say what she said. What happened?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, did you say, no, we actually had sex? Did he just say, you almost made the cut for my hoe face and then you didn't say anything?
Please tell me you said something. Because
I don't think that she
at least at this point, now we're coming up on a year.
I don't think she did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you have been given homework.
Yeah.
You need to fucking tell this man that you had sex. And then also, you need to be you don't remember having sex with me? How many pussies? How many? How many things?
Yeah, because
did you fuck?
We don't know his sexual orientation.
Yeah.
It might have been.
How many different forms of orifices and genitalia did you have interactions with that you forgot my prize winning pussy?
Yep.
I would be so offended. There's these I forget what it was. It was in a TV show or maybe it was just in a TikTok or something. But it was closing your eyes and kissing a girl and being can you tell it's your girlfriend or whatever? And everyone's oh, I totally could. And some scientists you literally unless you have the smell or you have something else.
Sorry, but I can distinctly remember most dudes that I've kissed. People have certain ways of kissing.
No, I know, but I think it was something Or maybe it was like just touching. It was something. It was something along the line.
I can understand that.
It was something where it was like, could you tell that this was like a partner or whatever? And it was like basically being like, you know, like, of course you want it to be like that, but like you probably couldn't tell. And I remember watching that and I go, I'd be so mad if Pops couldn't know it was me. But like the idea of maybe it was vaginas. Maybe that was like the whole thing of like, would you be able to know? Like, are the inside of vaginas like that in like super different? And I think it was something like not really.
How did they do the study?
Melissa, this might have been a TV show that like was not a real TV. This might have just been like
pseudoscience.
This might have been on like, I don't know. This might have been a bit on like an episode of something. Like it was just something, but I just remember like the thought crossing across my mind that it was like, I know logically, and like this is what it's saying, that logically, like they're not like that different, but I would be upset. And this is like the real life version of that. It could have been a dream. Who fucking knows? But I would be so mad. I'd be shocked. Granted, I am also kind of like your boyfriend. Like I remember I was scrolling on Facebook one day and I came across a picture of someone. I go, oh my God, I had sex with him. And like I forgot.
I found an article about people. They were like touching foreheads.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up.
Like it was a hand to a forehead.
That's the thing with TikTok. You just get so much content that you're like, I don't remember where this came from or what it was. I just remember I saw something.
There's another one that's hands. I feel like hands are easier too.
Yeah, like calluses and stuff.
And it says like women, even just size. Like if you just put your hand, like I feel like you can figure out like your partners. You can figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you have homework.
I need to know. I have so many questions.
Me too.
Yeah. Anyway, you haven't even done your first one.
My bad. Okay. So, hi, 20 female. I'm in a predicament. I've been friends with this guy. Let's call him Jack, 21 male, since high school, but we were never super close. We have a lot of friends in common, and about 2 years ago, I briefly dated one of his closest friends, Pat. I didn't end up liking him, so I put an end to it. This is only a few dates, and we never hooked up. He did tell me that he loved me, though, but I'm not sure if he meant it or if it was just infatuation because we didn't know each other that well. I hate people who do that. Not you, like him. I recently started hanging out a lot with Jack because I reconnected with the friends that we have in common. Since we started hanging out more, he started making a lot of flirty comments and hitting on me pretty heavily, but he's a flirt, so I thought this was just him joking around as he does. However, this week, he pulled me aside and told me he doesn't actually flirt like this with everyone, and he actually thinks I'm very attractive and would be interested in starting a friends with benefits, in quotations, type of situation with him. I'm interested, but I'm wondering if this would be wrong to do because I, very briefly, dated one of his best friends. I think that I don't owe anything to Pat, and it would be fine for me to take Jack up on his offer. But then I wonder if I would be wrong because I know that Jack is close friends with Pat, and this might cause drama in their friend group. I think Jack is okay doing this to his friend, and I have nothing to worry about, but am I wrong? You're not wrong. Go for it.
This happens all the time. I would have a conversation with Jack and ask him if he's talked to Pat about this.
Yeah, I would just be like, you know that I hooked up with Pat. I just want to like get it all in the clear. Like I'm down to do this, but like I just, want to make sure that like you know this and like I'm not friends with him. So like that's not my responsibility, but like I don't want you to go into this.
Yeah, because
if you didn't know.
If he didn't know, then I don't think that's fair to Jack.
Yeah, because he might not.
It might not be cool for him.
Yeah, like he might care. But if he does not care, it is not your problem. And it's also not your problem to anticipate that this might cause problems for other people if they don't care.
Right.
Or if they're like not thinking about it. Like it's not your job to think ahead for him.
Mm-hmm.
Get it. Friends with benefits. Fuck it up.
Make sure he remembers you.
Give him a cast iron molding of your pussy.
Leave a bite mark. Leaves us a mark forever.
Ew, that takes me back to high school.
Hickeys.
And like my high school boyfriend and I both have very sensitive skin. And so like we'd hook up or whatever. And then he'd have like a swim meet the next day. And everybody would be like, nice. And like his mom would be like, she hated me. It's awkward. I never went. They were so early in the morning.
Yeah. They got to get up at like 4 every day.
Yeah. Their swim meets start at like 6 a.m. I'm like, hard pass. No thanks.
All right. Hi, Megan and Melissa. My cousin, 20 female, and I, 21 female, are best friends. Due to severe anxiety and depression, she has done online school and lived at home her whole life in the heart of a very big city. Think NYC. She deals with chronic migraines, suspected endometriosis, CFS, and more. She doesn't leave her house much due to this, and anxiety and depression worsened by living in such a big city. Every summer, her family goes up to their cottage 6 hours north, located in a remotely foresty town. When she's at the cottage, she feels much better physically, but mostly mental health wise, and wants to keep that momentum, but goes back home and gets bad again. This summer, she decided to move to a little university town near her cottage. She got an apartment to live in with her cats. She can't live at the cottage. She has no friends, family in that area. This could be wonderful for her, but has me worried. Her migraines are so bad, sometimes she can't walk or talk. She isn't the best at reaching out for help with her depression when her depression has been bad in the past. Having no support in the area and nothing forcing her to leave her house to see people to make sure she's doing well doesn't seem good. I've brought this up / moving somewhere 2 hours away from her home rather than 6, but she thinks it's best for her. Her parents are on board. Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong.
I understand your concern, but I think it's in the wrong place. Like, this is an adult who knows what's best for her, has made a decision. Her parents are on board with it. And it's like you're trying to protect her from something that she doesn't need protection from.
Yeah.
And I know that's not how you're trying to come off, but you're being judgmental and a little prejudiced as well. Because this is a health condition that she has, that she knows how to manage, that she feels better in this place. And you don't need to tell her where she should live or be.
No.
Or make decisions for her like she doesn't know how to reach out for help, or that she doesn't leave her house unless it's for something else, like she'll stay in her house. Let people live their lives. And it's not even just people live their lives and you mind your own business.
Yeah. It's infantilizing. And like when you do that to people who are like disabled or chronically ill, like it is ableism, even though that's not your intention at all. And I think this is kind of like the more subtle version for people who don't experience this, of like you thinking, like you said, thinking that you know better than them. And the only reason why you think you know better than them is because they are whatever mental health or physical health disabilities that they're dealing with, they have that and you don't. And so like it does become ableism in that. But unless there are a few medical cases where people cannot make their own like mental and physical decisions for themselves. And even that can be a really tricky situation and not always done correctly or ethically, but like you don't have that. So like you have no like ground to like stand on for this. And I would like drop it really fucking fast, because to someone who has been dealing with this their whole lives, not only is it like an immense betrayal from like their best friend and like family member for this, but it's like it's again, your intention's not ableism, but like that's what it is. Like it doesn't feel any different. Like when someone's being ableist with like good intentions or bad intentions, like
contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
There's a spectrum of like how that feels, but when it comes from someone who's really that close to you, like that's you're still going to end up like exiling her when you're saying your whole goal is that like you want her to be close to people. So like don't emotionally push her away because she's creating some physical space. Like, and that physical space can be great and it might not work out, but also like she can move back.
Right.
And if you're concerned that like she doesn't always reach out, like reach out to her. Like you don't have to baby her, but like you need to be supportive of people and the choices that they make, regardless of like they're disabled or not. Like having a friend who's like, I'm moving somewhere. If you took out that, if you was like, oh, I have a friend who like is moving to this place. And like every time that like they go there, they're so happy and it like does so much for them. And like when they're in the city, like imagine someone else calls in and says like, should I do this? Like I want to move to a different city every time I'm there. Like I moved to this different cottage area, like foresty, like I'm so happy. And then when I move back to my big city, it just feels like I'm like weighed down by all of this other shit. And I really hate that. Like, oh my gosh, move. That's so exciting. That's amazing. And like people don't get to pick and choose when they're disabled. Like you're disabled you're disabled all the time. And if you're born with something, but like, even if it happens later in life, like from that moment on, there's before and after. And that's something that is, people aren't not thinking about it. Like you have to go out of your way to think about it because it's not you and your body, but like, that's like her life. Like she can't not factor it in. Like she can't ignore it. She can't like not think about it. Like it is a part of like every single part of her being every single day. It affects how she wakes up, how she goes to bed, how she goes about things. And like, it's just patronizing and again, ableist, even though that's not what your intention is, to not think that. Like, and like, that's okay that you don't realize that. Like, and that's something that like, it's a privilege for a lot of people to like not know that, but your intentions are good, but the result is not, and like change that.
Yep.
So you are wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay. Do you know how we always talk about off like camera or like off mic where we're like, damn, could really throw in a personal story here, but I can't. That's literally how I'm like foaming at the mouth for it. Okay. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. Yep. I was like, that's how the last one started, but they all start like that. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. I, 25, she, her, and 4 friends, 25, she, her, planned a trip in August where we split an Airbnb and the cost of a wine tour. 2 days before we left, one of the girls, let's call her Michelle, texted our group and said she had hurt her back, but was hoping to still make the trip. The day we left, she messaged and said she wasn't going to make it. I gave her the info for the wine tour company and she got 50% of that money back. However, Michelle then expected the 4 of us to pay for her portion of the Airbnb. This wasn't a question that Michelle asked, but an expectation that we would pay for her portion since she wouldn't be joining. Myself and another friend said in the chat that we weren't comfortable paying for the portion since we budgeted a certain amount for this trip and didn't have the money to pay a significant amount more last minute. Michelle responded saying she'd love to come, but she's injured and didn't want to lose the money. Eventually, we agreed to give her 50% of her Airbnb portion. To be honest, I didn't even want to give her that, but I didn't want to push it. Fast forward a couple of weeks ago, I found out from another friend that Michelle had recently ranted about me to her, how she was still upset with me and felt like I didn't care about her health. I have heard none of this directly from her and had no idea she was still upset with me. Am I wrong for not wanting to pay Michelle for the money she feels she deserves? Am I wrong for not reaching out to her to mend the situation?
I don't think that you're wrong at all. And I think you were generous in giving her 50%. Like, that's like, if you buy a plane ticket, unless you have, and you don't get insurance on it, you still have to pay for the ticket, even if you don't go on the trip. Like, she can't, I'm sorry that she was injured, but it's not y'all's responsibility to cover for her.
No. And it's also just like a really shady way of going about it. Like, I really hate people who do this, where it's like 2 days before, she's like, hey, I hurt myself. I'm still going to go. I really think I'm still going to be able to make it. And then the morning of, like, I'm a big fan of under promise, over deliver. Like, if I am not 100% confident, I'm not going to have someone like waiting until be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that. Right. Like, I'm fine with like, I have certain friends like Lily and I, we can like really like, we will say like, do you want to hang out today? 50-50 chance. Let's check in at 2:00. But like, we're on the same page with that. Like, I just think that's like super fucking manipulative to just like, it's trying to garner sympathy of being like, I really tried to come, and like 2 days before, so like it's leading up to it, so people can be like, oh, I wonder how she's doing, and then the day of being like, it was up until this moment. Like, it's just so, and I'm not doubting that she hurt herself or anything like that.
I'm not doubting that at all.
But like, when you like make the timeline to kind of like manipulate people into feeling a certain way about a situation, like, that would make me less empathetic, because I'm like, if you hurt yourself, like, tell us in 2 days before you hurt yourself, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But like, when you're stringing us along, it just feels disrespectful of like other people's time and money. And then clearly it was disrespectful of that. I just think like, you're not wrong for not wanting to pay her. And I don't think you're wrong for not wanting to mend the situation. Honestly, I would probably confront her though. And I'd just be like, what's up? Or if I didn't like her that
talking
much.
about me, the streets have been talking.
Word on the street is your lips been moving.
Come step to me if you got a problem. I'll solve it.
You might have hurt your back, but you stabbed me in the back.
Bitch.
Maybe that's why your back hurts. Because you're so busy stabbing me in mine. Like what?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Not at all.
All right, time for another break. Now time for But Are They Wrong? And that's when we pick somebody that we think sucks the most. So mine this week is Shein. Do you say Shein or Shein? Shein. I've heard it pronounced different. Yeah, that's how I say it. Shein. So mine is Shein. I mean, they're constantly a Rachel of the Week, but there was a specific report that came out. There is a woman who went undercover. This work was done by Channel 4 and the I newspaper in the UK. And this woman used a fake name and got a job inside 2 factories in China and secretly filmed what she saw as she worked there. And these are Shein factories, of course. And so on average, the workers work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they get 1 day off per month. At one of the factories, they get a base salary of 4,000 yuan per month, and that's equivalent to $556 a month. And they have to make at least 500 pieces of clothing per day, but their first month's pay is withheld from them, and many of these workers work long hours to earn a commission of 0.14 yuan, which is about 2 cents per item. So there's footage at the second factory that they don't get a base pay, but instead receive 0.27 yuan or just 4 cents for each garment they make. And then employees, if they don't hit their goals, they get a fine amounting to 2/3 of their daily wages if they make one mistake, according to the report. And in one of the factories, female employees wash their hair on their lunch breaks because there's little time after work to do so. And just to put this in context of other fast fashion companies, Shein has 100 billion valuation. This was this past April, and that's more than H&M and Zara combined. And all of this violates China's labor laws. And so I just want to say, do with this information as you will. But think about this when you're shopping fast fashion as a whole, but also Shein, because I see a lot of people doing Shein hauls or look, I found this on Shein. Just, think about where your things are coming from.
Yeah, they make up 28% of fast fashion sales. So I've seen a lot of rhetoric online of people being like, well, why are we going for them and we're not going for like other places? People are like, this stuff happens at it happens at all fast fashion like places, like vast majority of them, but it's about like the scale as well. So when you have a smaller fast fashion company, the popularity of it and like the demand is not there. And when you have a place like Shein, which like has grown exponentially and gotten so huge, it becomes more demand, and then it becomes, this is getting worse and happening to more people, and just it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's just fucked. I want to share this tweet that I saw. So shout out to Allie with Books. Allie, I love interacting with you on all of my social media platforms. You're wonderful. Oh, this tweet is from Dress Histories. And the tweet says, the fast fashion conversation sucks the life out of me because all it really comes down to is people thinking they're entitled to be trendy. Where am I supposed to get cute clothes if not Shein? I don't know, but you don't need cute clothes if you can't afford them. So there's So
Oof. That's
Yeah.
not a good take.
Nope. So the classism in conversations about fast fashion, I think, is what is holding us back from it. Like, there is no recognition of people who are poor and experiencing poverty, and then thinking like, oh, well, if you can't afford something that is like, you can't afford ethical fashion that's really nice and cute, that's like what I wear, and you're poor, then you can't have cute clothes. And that is just classist.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just is. And it's also just being like, well, you can just go, like, you can go thrift and you can do this. And like, it's like, well, no, I am incredibly poor and I work constantly and I have to take care of kids and I don't have the time to sort through, or I don't fit in straight sizes. Like, I am plus sized. I need to find something that, like, for an event, I have to go to things. I have to go to work. I have to pay for all of this kind of stuff. And it just is like the conversation of like about fast fashion, like people have decided that it is the fault of poor people and fat people. And that's why like, oh, that's, if it was those people who stopped shopping here. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's people who are spending like $700 on Shein shit that they're going to wear one time and then they're going to throw away. Mm-hmm. That's the issue.
Or do hauls.
Exactly. Like, that's the problem. It's the core problem. And it's, I've said it so many fucking times. It's not just about what you buy, but it's about how you buy. And if you buy things in excess, you're going to dispose of things in excess. Mm-hmm. And excess is the issue. It's not an issue that people need to buy clothes. They need to buy clothes that they like. They need to enjoy what they wear. They need to be, not need to, but like, would love that. Like, want people to like feel seen in their clothes, feel good about themselves in their clothes, and not feel like they're missing out on trends. And when we go after people who are like just trying to get by as that they are the result of this, like, it is just, it becomes abundantly clear that like why you care. It's not about the environment. It's just about like your classism and fat phobia. Mm-hmm. Like, and you've just found a way to greenwash classism and fat phobia. But yeah, it's fucked. I will say, I shop on ThredUp all the fucking time. Like, I love ThredUp. I literally have to like go through pages of just Shein clothes. So if you really like a lot of the trendy pieces, and especially like they have like a lot of availability for extended sizing, ThredUp is a really wonderful place that, like, if you don't have time to go in person to like a thrift store, or like mobility wise, like standing up for that long is not that great for you, I can't recommend it enough. Like, mm-hmm. it's really, really great. And also, if you submit your clothes and like send your clothes into ThredUp, I think they're still doing this program, but I don't know if they do it all the time. For a while, I think it was just like for a certain time period, but it might be permanent now. Like, you can use credits that from the clothes that you sell, you can spend them on ThredUp. You can get the cash back to you. Or they were doing like a premium one where you could get more credits and have it be exchanged into like a Reformation gift card. And Reformation is, you know, even ethical companies are not like perfect, and it's more expensive, but you can use money towards something like that if you have like a staple thing that you want to wear all the time. So fuck fast fashion, but like keep your like classes about it.
Right. All right. Your turn. I can't wait. This is, I can close my computer. You know, there's two things in this world that I can, you know, that thing going around where people are like, what's that one thing that you can talk about for hours without any research? There's two things for me.
General Hospital.
Or soaps in general. Uh-huh.
And Real Housewives.
There we go.
Guess what we're talking about? I'll give you 2 seconds. Everybody scream in their cars, Bethenny Frankel. Ding, ding, ding. You are fucking correct.
You didn't even give anybody 2 seconds.
No, because you said, I'm sure as soon as I said Real Housewives, everyone's like, ooh, I know what she's going to talk about. So we're talking about Bethenny Frankel. So I am not a Housewives girly, so that's why I'm so excited that this is the podcast that we do together, because you can give me a backstory on her and we can talk about what she's currently doing. And based on what she's currently doing, I can't imagine what she was doing before I can't imagine it was a total 180, because when you're this confident being this loud and wrong online, there's some building blocks to get there. Mm-hmm. So Bethenny Frankel sent a TikTok creator, Meredith Lynch, who I follow, who is like a really great follow. She's very like, makes really interesting like niche content where she talks about like celebrity brands, and especially like really going off of the conversation we just had about Shein, talking about like the overconsumption and what the like useless products that like celebrities are shilling out and like creating just to like build up their own image that are like completely ruining the planet. She like talks about like, you know, the carbon emissions of like the planes that people taking and all of that stuff. And she's great. Like she does, it's very personality driven, but she just reports on things. And so she sent her a cease and desist.
Bethenny sent Meredith.
Yes. Meredith revealed all of this in like a series that she did on her TikTok, where she said that Bethenny had sent her a cease and desist for quote unquote defamatory statements after Meredith talked about like Bethenny's brands. And it also coincides with Bethenny has a lawsuit against TikTok right now that's like at the same time, where she's suing TikTok for using her like image and likeness to promote counterfeit products on the platform. Which I will say, you got to read the terms and conditions on TikTok. Like if you have a brand that you want to go after, but going after TikTok specifically, like those terms and conditions, I remember at the very beginning, Cody Ko, like they were using him in like ads for TikTok or some shit. And it was
They've
like
also used him in stuff for like Hinge too.
Yeah. And it was like, he was like, what? And then it was like, oh no, if you made a video on the platform, they can just like use it. And it might have changed and gotten better, but like still like.
I think they made it up for it with a lot of people where they had them in their actual commercials and then they like paid out through that way.
Yeah. But it's, you know, that's terms and conditions. So Meredith made this video and I saw it like just it came up on my like following list. And basically just talking about how she was like, yeah, this really sucks. And like, this is like, I don't want this to happen. Like, I don't want someone to like, who's so rich to sue me. But also like, I really don't like what this means for like the platform that like suddenly like we can't like talk about things and people. And like, she's not spreading lies. Like she literally is like, she like researches like who I'll get into like what like Bethenny's upset about specifically. But like, she's not lying. She's not making these outlandish claims of like, oh, like, yeah, like I heard that, like, it's not like she's like a public facing Dumois kind of thing. Like, that's not what she's doing at all. And she was like, I really just think that this sets a really bad precedent for like rich people and like celebrities to come on TikTok, where it's like Bethenny literally started an entire fucking series comparing like expensive makeup and like skincare, expensive things to cheap things. And she gets on there and like will shit talk these brands that she doesn't like. She gets on there and she shit talks Kim Kardashian. She gets on there and we'll get to this. I mean, we'll get to it now. She went on this completely unprompted and like very Piers Morgan, like style fucking rant about Meghan Markle for no fucking.
No, you know what the reason is though?
Well, because her on her show.
No, because Bethenny used to date Meghan Markle's ex-husband.
Why is he everywhere?
I don't know.
So like, she literally gets on her platform now on TikTok and like talks shit not only about individuals, where it's like, okay, you want to get into the Meghan Markle rhetoric? I dare you without being racist, because like she's never done a fucking thing. Has not done a goddamn fucking thing. And if you can find a way to dislike her, you're like, it's just fucking racism. Like that's like literally all there fucking is to it. And you have that on top of like talking mad shit on all these brands. I don't give a shit if you talk about the Kardashians. Like if you talk shit on the Kardashians, like whatever. So does Meredith. Like you're all talking shit. But then the second that someone talks about you, cease and desist.
Yeah.
So in the video that like Bethenny references in her cease and desist to Meredith, she has like since deleted the videos, but she basically had talked about how Bethenny Frankel's company had publicly, keyword publicly, trademarked the saying "it's a scam," which is what her like catchphrase is in her TikTok videos, for merch, podcasting, and other entertainment products in December 2021. And Meredith noted that like she started using this phrase more often in video reviews for various products, making it pretty clear that this was like pre-planned for a launch of something for business purposes. And then she also says the letter also covered defamation, saying that in the cease and desist, she also said that it claimed that it had to be confidential and she couldn't say that she even received the letter publicly. And then she asked lawyers on TikTok if she needed to like abide by that. But then she was deleting the videos because she didn't want to get in trouble. But this is exact quote from her. Yes, freedom of speech is a thing, but what really wealthy people can do is they can threaten your freedom of speech. And if you don't have the money to push back, people are like, oh, but you could just, go to court. Like I would have to get lawyers to back me up. I think that this person bullies small creators into silencing them. In my opinion, this app isn't really built for big celebrities. We created this really we created this really cool community where people actually state their personal opinions. When they see small creators saying, hey, look, I found this, or hey, look, this happened, they freak out. The Lynch said with the video over 200,000 views. Then Bethenny went on and did a response where she said that Meredith misrepresented her nonprofit Be Strong and all of these things were not true and not real, which is not what happened at all. And the only thing she said about Be Strong was something about how it wasn't classified as a 1030 501c. Yeah. That it wasn't yet classified as that. It was classified as something else, and it can be a process to get that. Do you know what I mean? It's a long process. And she just stated that and she didn't misrepresent. She didn't say that they were anything like that. And Bethenny said that anyone can say anything they want about her unless they are spreading misinformation. And
but yeah, we're gonna pick this up because Bethenny is the biggest hypocrite.
I felt like you could tell me that.
Yeah. So in case y'all don't know, because I don't think Bethenny isn't that big of a celebrity.
I hate her skinny girl branding, but
yeah,
that's all I know.
So she kind of got her start in the entertainment industry as being Paris's and Nikki's babysitter.
What?
So she came out to LA and she was trying to be an actor, and she was Paris and Nikki's babysitter, and now she's very close friends with their aunt Kyle Richardson, who is also while Bethenny is Real Housewives of New York, Kyle is on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And so they became friends back when she was babysitting.
I took a Soul Cycle class with Kyle. She was very nice to me. She told me I was pretty. So yeah. I said the same thing about Abby Lee Miller. Not a nice person, told me I was pretty. What can I do? What can I do?
Yeah. And so Bethenny likes to tell people that she pulled herself up from the bootstraps and that she's this she created her self-made and everything. This woman went to boarding school. Her stepfather and mother they treated her like shit. Which is true. They did. Well, according to her, I don't like to put things, but if you watch Real Housewives of New York, then her she has she's trying to reconnect with her family and they just won't do it. But she's very monetarily privileged, but tries to act like that she wasn't. Does she not have millions of dollars like a lot of the women that started off on Housewives? Yes. She was living in when Real Housewives first started, she was living in an apartment that's probably as big as this room. And she was snarky. She also was on The Apprentice before she was on Real Housewives as well. So she'd been on television.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why, because of her personality, they're it wasn't because of her money. Everybody else had money, but they liked her personality. And so they put her on there. And so on Real Housewives, she would start ordering drinks, and it would be what essentially is what's known as the skinny girl cocktail now. And so she was marketing it back then. She started off as a cook and a bartender was her shtick. That's how she earned her money, was catering people, catering big events and stuff. And so if you watched Real Housewives from the beginning, you saw her come up. Well, she had a big one. Skinny Girl's worth a lot of money. She made a lot of money doing that. But as the more money she got, the more obnoxious she got. And as wrong as Ramona Singer is about a lot of things, Ramona parties in Mar-a-Lago, she said, and this is a famous quote, Bethenny does not support women. And she never has. Never has. She doesn't bring people up with her. Allegedly, from my observations, I want to say.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but
I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Since she's lawsuit.
Wouldn't be the first time I've gotten one, so.
Yeah, so she's known for not supporting women. And she also is known for making disparaging remarks about Black women. So Real Housewives of Atlanta premiered around the same time as New York. Well, New York was out first and then Atlanta came. And Bethenny, whenever she would talk about Atlanta, she would talk about it in a Black accent. Also you can look this up on, like, if you want to get on YouTube and look at Watch What Happens Live and maybe just type in like Bethenny Frankel talking about Atlanta or something. And she would talk in a Black accent, say that all they have is like their weaves and stuff, like white women don't wear extensions as well. And talking about weaves and wigs and just talking like it wasn't the same caliber.
Oh God.
She might, I don't remember, so I don't want to be misquoted, but she might have said that it was ghetto.
I was wondering if it was leading to that.
Yes. I like, this was a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe not verbatim, but what you're saying is there's an implication.
There was an implication. And she was jealous of a lot of things that were going on, because when New York was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Like OC was there, like OC put everything on the map. Then New York came through and was like a huge hit, because the difference was with OC, a lot of the women a lot of them were actual like housewives, but New York, most of them had like their own businesses and things. And then Atlanta came, and that was the first franchise that was predominantly Black. And it was more of a cultural phenomenon than the rest of them.
Well, as someone who's not a part of it, every single time I have a Real Housewives quote, you're like, that's Atlanta. That's Atlanta. That's like, and I also think that like, I could probably only name Nene. Like I could name people who like have iconic, or even those clips, like it just far more iconic than like cultural reset, like, and still had mainstay and like the jokes, the quotes, all of that.
Right. And so she's been talking about Black women in this way for a long time. She also, when it comes to who she considers famous, she also thinks like women are trying to take things from her all the time. She doesn't have, which she talks about on the show, a lot of female friends.
I wonder why.
Right. It's like she's not a girl's girl, as Ramona would say. Again, Ramona is not a good person, but when it came to Bethenny, she had her fucking cart.
Yep.
She also, like, she was supposed, it was the season right before the pandemic, so I think 2019 season of Real Housewives of New York. She quit the day that they started filming.
That's so unprofessional.
Yes. And she also, which I forget that creator that looks like AI that does her videos. Denisha. I think that's her name.
Literally was fucking watching her videos today.
So Denisha Carter, she had said the other day, which she says to a lot of people, it seems like controversial things, but I find myself agreeing with probably 99.9% of the things that she says. And she was talking about how the people that are the main manipulators, and I'm paraphrasing this, but saying people that are manipulators, they manipulate the people that are their victims in a different way than they manipulate people that are the people that they're trying to save face in front of.
Oh yeah, that's textbook narcissist.
Exactly. And so Bethenny does a lot of good for different communities. She has her company Be Strong. She does raise a lot of money and takes a lot of money and takes gift cards and food when there's like a natural disaster. She does a lot of good things, which is what Be Strong is the company that you're talking about. But Bethenny also, at her core, in my opinion, is not a good person because she manipulates everyone around her. And so what Denisha was saying, that I don't want to say a narcissist. Like, no, I'm not going to call it, but people that exhibit narcissist behavior seem really good on the surface because that's a form of manipulation, because they want you to think that they're the best possible person. So then when someone accuses them of abuse or something like that, then it's like, no, I could never see them doing something like this because they do X, Y, and Z. And that's kind of how Bethenny, I feel like, sees herself, is like, I do all this good, so I give money to Haiti. I can't be racist against Black people.
That gives me that same vibe as the specific brand of white Christians, where it's like, well, I'm a Christian.
Right.
And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything when you're being like a hateful bigot. Like, I don't, that's not the get out of jail free card that you think it is. But no, about manipulators and people with like dealing with like in that situation, narcissists or people, if they're displaying narcissistic behavior, like not only is it like making other people doubt, like creating an image of yourself that like if anything else comes up that disputes that would make people doubt that, but also specifically discredits your victims. Like it shifts the blame onto other people. But I also just think that like you can be a really bad person and have care about charitable causes. I think that there's very few people in the world who like legitimately do not have any causes or anything they care about. Like, I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who's like, I don't give a shit about childhood cancer. Like, and also at a certain level, and I've said this before, like when you're so rich, you need tax write-offs.
Right.
And especially when you're getting famous, every agency or manager will sit down with you and say, what causes do you care about? Because they want you to publicly align yourself with causes. And I've seen it happen, and I don't dislike when it happens. It's just, I know the origin of it. It can come from like very genuine place when you have a platform and then you have access to be more charitable. Like, I think a perfect example, Meghan Markle has cared about things forever. She had a fucking blog. She's caring about it when she had it on Instagram. And then, you know, royal family, when you have resources and access, you can like do more with that. But like, you can be a bad person and still donate money to charity and if you didn't, you're paying that money to the IRS.
Right.
So like, I think she does more in charity than some people who just write checks. But you can't deny that it's mutually beneficial for her image as well as for the people that she's helping.
Right. I mean, this is a woman that was riding around in a limo in New York City saying that she was homeless when she was just between homes, when she was living in penthouse hotels. Like this, she's out of touch, and then is now going after people and the thing is that this creator, Meredith, she is not the only person that said anything about her.
No, she's suing two people. I don't know who I only know, but I'm just saying Meredith. Like,
it was everywhere on Twitter. So on Instagram and Twitter too. So why are you going after a specific person?
Yeah, why you're going after these two people, and like, imagine if Kim Kardashian tried to send you a cease and desist. Like, we wouldn't hear the end of it.
Right.
Content for days. Yeah, I think it's like absolutely ridiculous, and I'm glad that TikTok lawyers are able to step up, because I like literally was like going to message her, and I was like, hey, I've received a cease and desist before. I can give you some pointers, some tips. I know I've also been threatened with a defamation lawsuit. I can. And have had to have consults with like lawyers about it. And I can give you some like tips like to assess the enemy and assess the threat and like see what this is. But I was like very happy that like people stood up to that, because we have a hard time reconciling that rich people will throw their money around as a weapon. And it's like, well, why would they do that if it's not Like, why would someone threaten that if they like can't prove it? And it's like, because they're using their money because they know they can. And like a defamation lawsuit, you can't win shit. You can spend a fuck ton of money. She doesn't want to spend that money, but she's doing that because she knows she's not going to have to spend.
And
that
she's
money.
also trying to set a precedence, trying to make people stop talking about her.
Exactly. And it's fucked. So fuck you, Bethenny.
Yeah.
Fuck
I
you.
used to really like you too. That's the thing. It's like she was the underdog. Everybody was rooting for her. And then she's just not a good person.
Yeah, she sounds like a deeply insecure person. When you're that, and this is not ageist at all, but once you get past your 30s, 40s, and you have not worked on your insecurities and you become a deeply insecure person, the world treats women when they get older worse. And when you have not processed your own insecurities and you're aging, you get more and more angry and you lash out more because the world is not treating you the way they did when you were like a young thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you begin to hate other women to like a different level. Like it just becomes really fucking intense.
Right.
So.
And again, speaking of someone who we don't always agree with them, but Omarosa was once on Bethenny's talk show, that her short-lived talk show that she had. And if y'all ever want to see someone hand somebody their ass, look it up, please. We should look it up if you haven't seen this before. We'll look it up during the break.
Is it going to be like Keke Palmer on Wendy Williams?
Yeah. But even more because like, it's just like above Bethenny and she doesn't even see it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Omarosa.
When she's wrong, she's wrong. But when she's right, she's right.
Azalea Banks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is it for our episode. We hope you enjoyed. Again, if you want to vote, head on over to our Instagram tomorrow, Friday, if you're listening to this on Thursday. And also listen to us read the results on Friday in our Fisting Friday episode. Fisting Friday.
We'll share some pitches first and for some new names.
We'll chat and hang out. It's, if you haven't listened before, it's like the extra clips from this recording. And also we talk more and we like expand on things. And we also just talk more. Like it's just hang out with us a little more on Friday. So we hope you enjoyed. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, go follow us individually and our joint one, as well as our TikTok account.
Mm-hmm.
And go comment.
I want you to all think about everyone that you've hooked up with and then that one person that you forgot. Like you have to think about that you did it and comment their name.
I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah.
I love that. I was going to shout mine out. I don't know his name. What the fuck is his name? Nate? Doesn't sound right. I don't know. I don't know. College was a blur.
Yeah. Make up a fake name.
Okay, the end.
Bye.
We'll circle back next week.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
It's fine. We'll circle back next week.
We'll circle back.
Bye. But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.